Recently, my friend Gabby posted this really cool series of stories on her Instagram where she basically shared photos of alligators and asked her followers or the audience whether or not they thought those alligators were captive alligators or alligators captured in the wild, as in photographed in the wild. So were the photos taken of a wild alligator or were they taken of a captive alligator? And then she continued the series by educating us throughout the photos on what the correct answer was and why she could tell which one was captive and which one was wild. It was really cool because she educated us on the behaviors that we would see in captivity versus the ones we would see in the wild, or the ones we would never see in the wild that we would only see in captivity. And it was such a cool learning experience. It made me want to do the same thing here on YouTube for my entire audience with pictures of parrots. Now, because I was joining Gabby's feed as a total newbie, I don't know anything much about alligators in general, so all the information was brand new to me and I was pretty much just guessing. I thought, there's probably people that feel the same way about parrot body language, and I thought this could be a really, really cool video to just sort of explain what a lot of parrot body language looks like or may look like, and then what it actually is. So I hope you guys find this really, really fun. Let's get started. Whether you're new to parrots or you are very advanced and have been working with birds or had birds your entire life, I'm hoping that you will find this super fun to do. So let's start with this first photo. So let's start with this photo of two macaws that are beak to beak. Are they fighting or are they friends? Is this friendly or is this aggressive? Keep in mind, in the wild, parrots touch beaks for a few reasons: to feed their young, to feed their mate, or to fight. All right, here's your answer. If you said that these two are friendly, you'd be correct. So they were doing this in a mating type of way where they were touching beaks together. The giveaway on this not being aggressive is the posture of both birds not being defensive. So no raised feathers or squinty eyes. You can tell that both feel safe with one another. You'll also notice how the larger of the macaws, which is actually a Verde named Alex, has her beak turned, and this is more of a feeding posture than anything. It is not so much of a fighting posture or where they're grabbing beaks aggressively. This is definitely a feeding posture. All right, next one. How about this African gray? Is she about to bite? Is she aggressively attacking? Or is it something else? So spoiler alert, this is actually my African gray cresty, and she was just yawning, guys. She was just yawning. So this one was a little bit more of a tricky one. When birds are about to bite something either aggressively or defensively, typically it's accompanied by raised feathers and a low posture with their head more down when going to bite a person or even a hand. So when they're attacking another bird, typically they'll have a larger posture to make themselves appear bigger, which we will show. So here's a great example of this. Are these macaws friends or enemies? Now this is more aggressive posturing, although these two aren't total enemies. They're actually brother and sister. They just weren't friends in this particular moment. If you look close, one is actually kicking the other, and they're fighting over the same spot on the tree. So you'll notice the raised feathers on communicating their dissatisfaction with the arrangement. And these two weren't attacking one another by beak, but they were vocalizing their annoyance with one another, which is why you see the mouth open, especially on the one on the right. You really see her mouth open. She is screaming at her brother here, just yelling that she doesn't appreciate being kicked, while the male, who is off to the left, he is just telling her, don't come up any further, this is my spot, I want to be here all by myself. So although this is a little aggressive, these birds wouldn't harm each other in this situation, but it would be pretty hard to tell. You can definitely tell they're having a disagreement of sorts like siblings do. So you're gonna be surprised, but this next photo is of the same macaws that you just saw. Do they look like they're about to bite me? Because that is me sitting there. They're actually babies here. So this is showing by their baby posturing with their heads down, a little bit of fluff around their heads, especially underneath where you see like under their beaks and that area and that chest area. That's all poofy and super sweet. They were asking for head scratches here. They were just getting some real sweet love, but this is all baby posturing right here, just of two baby birds. They were quite young. I know they were under 6 months old. Even though they look probably fully mature to some of you, they were very young here. This next photo just shows these same two macaws getting the head scratches they were always asking for when I was working with them. Their names were Jersey and Chaco. They were brother and sister and just so sweet. So here's them getting the head scratches they're usually asking for as babies, and you can see all the fluff on the head. This was after a bath, so it's a little harder to tell what's going on with the feathers. Let's look at these next couple of photos side by side. So I want you guys to be able to see the Amazon and the African gray side by side here because it's similar body language. So do you think that these two birds are about to fly? Are they about to take off from this T-stand perch, or are they doing something else? Because although they have raised wings as though they're about to fly, neither have any intention of doing so. These birds are being asked to show their wings on cue, which is really cute. So let's look at the difference between these birds who have no intention of taking off in flight and are just presenting their wings in a pretty way that is on cue, and what it looks like for a bird to have the intention to fly. So if you're looking at the bird on the left, that's my macaw Comet. He's ready to take off from that bench. Notice that compared to the macaw next to him, which is actually his brother Tusa, who has a tall posture with no intention of flying. So Comet is in the ready position. He's crouched down, he's hunched over. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna push off from my little feet and I'm gonna get going into the sky. Whereas Tusa, you can tell that he would not take off from this posture of being pretty upright. He's just kind of taken in the lay of the land. So that's the difference between a bird who looks like they're about to fly and a bird who has no intention of flying. So I'm going to show you 3 images, and I want you to think about what all of these birds have in common as far as what their body posture and body language is conveying to us. Hopefully it's pretty obvious. I'll give you a hint. All of these birds were in Florida at the time. So all of these birds are showing signs of being hot. Birds can't sweat. So the only way for them to cool themselves is to hold their wings away from their bodies and open their mouths and sort of pant their tongues up and down. You can see some of these birds are just holding their wings further away. Some of these birds are holding their wings away and have an open mouth. But these are basically body language signs to look out for that will tell you if your bird is uncomfortable in the outside temperature. For those of you that live in places like Florida or Texas or just places that get extremely hot during certain times of the year, you want to look out for this body language because it is meaning that you have pushed your bird beyond its threshold and it needs to get into cooler temperatures. Here we were actually flight training in a batting cage and we realized it was too hot of a day for it. All right, next is this image. What do you guys think about this one? What do you think this body language means? Does this bird look like it's about to attack? I will say only if it's a cuddle attack. This bird is a baby and was doing baby vocalizations in conjunction with the full body wing flaps, which is all baby bird body language. So this is helpful to see based on the low posture. You can see again, going back to those 2 blue and gold babies who are really low, their heads were down. This is the same thing where they're almost like dragging their chest to the floor. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm a helpless baby. You can see that this bird's chest is level with the perch that it's actually on, which is actually just a railing of a house. So it's helpful to see that. The fluffy feathers, baby birds get like a full afro as we call it. It's just where all the feathers on the head are just poofed out. I call them fluff monsters. That's how I can tell like, oh, this is just a fluffy baby wanting some love. And a more submissive, I would say, posture and look overall. It's just like a sweet demeanor in these baby birds where they just don't mean any harm and they're just like, but I'm just a baby. That's kind of the vibe that they always give off. Also, baby birds tend to have darker eyes, although you can't always count on that because macaws can be very baby-like for months and months and months. I would say while they're under a year, and some go past a year still having baby type behaviors. So keep that in mind. The eyes are a dead giveaway for a very, very, very young bird, but you can see Tusa here, he has some coloration already, so that wouldn't be quite the giveaway for him. So let's talk about this next one. Is this macaw giving us all the stink eye? Some birds do glare, but I've mostly only seen it on cockatoos. Just saying. So this bird was actually just sleepy. It was not glaring at anyone. This was a bird that was kept outside at a bird sanctuary, I believe, And all right. I know that I'm gonna get some hate if I don't include some white cockatoos. So let's move on to white cockatoo body language. And just keep in mind, a sleepy bird is kind of the slow eye blink. It is pretty much comfortable feathers. Sometimes they might be up on one leg. And usually if they're full on asleep, they have their head tucked back into their back feathers. However, this one was just feeling sleepy and hadn't fully committed to a nap yet. Okay, now let's move on to white cockatoo body language. I know you guys have all been waiting for this. Okay, what does this white cockatoo look like to you guys? Does he look like a happy bird, excited, dancing, living his best life, angry, on the attack? So if we look at the environment a little, we'll notice that he just destroyed something of someone, so he's probably feeling pretty accomplished. The only thing that we can accurately label this photo as is heightened. We know this animal is heightened based on the tall posture, the very puffed up feathers and wings held out. Whether this was heightened good or heightened bad, as in excited or angry, we don't really know from the photo. We only know from what happened after, so I'll let you guys be the guess on that. So since heightened often gets confused, and most people see heightened behavior as super duper cute, it's what we see on social media, birds dancing, fluffing up, bouncing around, and a lot of people say that birds become very unpredictable when they show heightened behavior. Let me show you some more examples of what heightened in the category of heightened looks like. So I chose a different species here. Some signs of a heightened bird are eye pinning, fluffed out feathers, big posturing, and oftentimes vocalizations, which obviously we can't hear in a photo, but sometimes we might be able to guess based on the posture with the bird's beak open or closed. All right, next let's touch on some flight training body language. The following birds are actually doing the same thing. They have the brakes on, the landing gear at the ready, and they're about to land. I'm gonna now share a photo with the landing target and context so you guys can actually see what this all looks like. And let's end on a small bird. What do you think this conure is saying with its body language? So you're gonna notice the head tilt and eye contact with the sky. She is simply assessing something flying above her head, and she's just deciding whether or not it's a threat. You'll notice the streamlined feathers that are laying flat against her. This is a sign of a very alert bird. Okay, and lastly, I wanted to save this one. This is an easy one. This is a sleepy bird. Birds sleep by tucking their heads into their back feathers and resting it there, like I spoke on earlier when we saw that Catalina outside giving us that sleepy, slow eye blink. So this is just how birds sleep. It's pretty adorable, actually. If you want to see more videos like this of dissecting certain bird behavior and body language through photos and giving that context, let me know what you think. Let me know what species you want me to focus on. And maybe you can even submit photos of certain examples of different types and categories of behavior with birds. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you want to see more like it, drop me a comment below letting me know. Parrots are the third most popular pet in the entire world, yet the #1 most rehomed. If you're interested in joining our mission of saving parrots one person at a time, visit birdtricks.com to learn more about our parrot training courses, organic bird food, all-natural parrot toy line, and much more. When we know better, we do better. It's through you that we can help people offer only the best quality products to their parrots, along with the knowledge they need to live in harmony with their birds through permission-based training. Visit birdtricks.com today to learn more.